Theater Talk is made possible in part by the CUNY TV Foundation.
Well, what a lovely old building this is, isn't it? Where are we going?
I have to go over there.
Hello.
Need a bodyguard?
Look, I do need a bodyguard.
You sure?
You're the man. Look, they're looking at us.
Hey, how's it going? CUNY TV.
Here we go this way.
Oh, this way. Bye.
Yeah,
We take a left here.
Through here.
And then a straight.
Goodness me, what lovely people work in this building. Good morning.
I saw your show last night. You were wonderful. I saw your show last night.
Well, I'm energetic, aren't I?
Fabulous
I
show.
think I'm a gifted amateur, I think is the best way to describe it.
super
How's that? Michael. You know, I felt I was meant to be here years ago. Perhaps I was here in a former life. I might have been one of the original inhabitants of this island. Who were the original inhabitants of Manhattan? Indians, I suppose?
I believe so, yes.
Lovely. I might have been one of those in another life.
It's quite possible.
You can't call them Indians, though. It's not politically correct, is it?
Native American.
Native Americans, I'll remember that.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend, and yet I do, in a way. I
Oh.
quite like offending.
And you're quite good at it.
I am an expert, Possum.
Yes.
Oh, she's traveling with an entourage. An entourage.
We're going to meet on camera.
Hello, how are you? It's good to see you. I saw you the other night on stage and you were as brilliant as
Lovely.
ever.
I was peeping out. I haven't seen anyone I know.
This is a friend of mine, Mark Salem. He's got a one-man show on Broadway. Dave Edna.
Congratulations.
You too. Actually, we passed each other when we was doing my
What
show in
show do you
Australia.
do?
Mind Games on Broadway.
Oh, of course. Well, looking broad.
This could be Peacock. Okay.
Oh, dear. I just adore the atmosphere here.
Yes.
It looks like you're under construction.
I should have a fence around me.
One of those New York
They're
scaffolding.
unobtrusively wiring me up.
You're like Puff Daddy. You have a groom squad.
A groom's.
You know what they were doing? They were giving him a
I
haircut.
have it in my.
He was in between whatever it is he does during his day, so he came here. We had to wait here while he had his hair trimmed because he travels with his own barber. As you do too.
Well, it looks like it. I've never met this person before. I mean, I come into a studio and these teasers are stalking me. Groomers and teasers. Do you know what's afflicted me in the last 2 days? Toothache.
Really?
My dental history is a separate interview. But and it's what?
Our cameraman has a toothpick right there if you need to borrow it.
No, I'm frightened the whole structure will collapse. But I have had a bit of work done, Susan.
No.
You're kidding.
And I had this dreadful toothache on stage. Now, I keep hoping that that old Dr. Footlights is going to fix me up. Have you heard of that? Do you know about Dr. Footlights? It's sort of an English thing, and Australian, I suppose. You walk on stage with whatever ailment or worry, and the footlights fixes it up. I think it's to do with a rush of adrenaline. So I was hoping Dr. Footlights, Dentist Footlights, would fix my tooth.
And
We're doing all this to that
No,
camera.
we're going to stop it. We're going to roll the show.
Oh.
Yes.
Susan is now into reality television, which means she likes to tape everybody walking in off the street. Now, not everyone is quite as glamorous as you are.
Susan.
All right, so are we ready to roll? Yeah. All right.
This is Theater Talk. I'm Susan Haskins. Our guest tonight is quite simply the most admired woman in the world, and we are so honored that she's back with us tonight. To introduce her, a man who is quite smitten with her, my co-host, Michael Riedel of the New York Post.
She really has become one of the world's greatest stars. But what I really like about her so much is that she's managed to remain modest despite all of this celebrity and fame that has come her way. And so modest, in fact, so humble that she has agreed to come down from the lofty heights of the Hollywood squares to sit here with us on Theater Talk. Dame Edna, back with a vengeance on Broadway at the Music Box Theater.
Good evening, Michael and Susan.
Welcome back to Theater Talk.
I'm thrilled. You know, viewers, I had a lovely time on this program when I was last in New York. How long ago was that?
4 years ago.
4 years, and yet I'm still lovely and very, very proud, really, to be in this city and finding acceptance from my little American possums.
Well, we were two of the first, actually, when you came here 4 years ago.
You almost discovered me. You gave me confidence because I'm a very vulnerable woman, very, very shy, very private.
We brought you out, though.
You brought me out of
We
my
launched
shell.
you.
And what worries me about Michael and Susan, viewers, is that they have to see so much theatre. Do you ever get fed up?
Michael, I throw that one to you. No, you don't go to the theater.
Oh, that's not true. I just went to see Dame Edna the other night.
But you get a bit kind of, do I have to go again?
Well, I'm afraid that the quality of theater is not what we would like sometimes. It's regrettable.
Sometimes I'm watching a show and I think if Dame Edna were in this show,
Yes.
it might be.
Might
might
pick
work.
it up.
You would have torn it up in Democracy.
I think one of the things that has troubled theatre goers and serious theatrical journalists such as yourselves is the tension in America today.
Mm-hmm.
As a visitor, as a great fan of the United States, I'm conscious of the anxiety, the worry that people are feeling about the future, about what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever side of the political spectrum they're on. And the theatre should transport them, not altogether always in laughter, which I do so well, but even tragic plays
Yes,
or
yes.
serious themes. And people look to Broadway for the best, and perhaps it's not delivering.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think you may be right. One of the things that's going on Broadway now is, and I have to say, I think you've fallen victim to this yourself, Dame Edna, this drive for merchandising. You can buy T-shirts and CDs, and they're trying to sell you all these things before you even get into your seat. And I noticed when I went to the Music Box the other night, I mean, I practically killed myself falling over the Dame Edna DVD collection. You're taking a page out of Andrew Lloyd Webber here and marketing your trinkets.
Well, that's quite a new thing with me. I was always non-commercial.
Oh.
But people, the public clamour. They want a piece of me. And all the profits, or most of them, or should I say a percentage of the profits, do go to the prostate,
Yes.
which is my charity, as you know. Though I'm moving to another charity, the Deviated Septum.
Now, why is that?
It's a Cinderella charity.
Yes.
Your new show, Back with a Vengeance. You're famous for what you like to say, empowering people.
Yes.
But I always detect a cruel streak in some of what you do. I mean, you do torture the audience in that show. I know you call it empowering, but those people are uncomfortable because they're afraid of what you might do to them.
If they're tortured, Michael Riedel, wouldn't they stand up and leave? They're not shackled to their seats. They haven't got cuffs on. They're not roped in. They come back after intermission for more. And I call it tough love. You call it torture. Well,
But
you know
Ed,
things.
you do bring people up on stage, not to give anything away, and put them in silly costumes. Have you ever had someone?
Put you in a silly costume?
No, well, say
Silly costume.
Have you ever had someone refuse to be?
Your
in,
mother Nancy wants to put you into a silly costume.
I would look much better.
She said, I'm sick of that corporate look on my daughter. She's not Jodie Foster.
No, I'm not.
My feeling is that if I talk to people in the audience, which I like to do, I'm on the stage, there's another show going on out there, isn't there? Mm-hmm. People have come, and I look at them, and if I like the look of them, or I feel I need to be a little bit, as you say, cruel to them, to be kind, to empower them, then I feel the people in the balcony need to see them by the end of the show. They want to see, who's this woman Edna was talking to?
Yes.
Who is Susan? Who is Michael? I wonder what they look like, the audience are pondering. And at the end of the show, I let those people take a curtain call, and I let them be seen to advantage in lovely outfits. Well, not so lovely, but sometimes slightly absurd.
Has anyone ever refused to put on the?
Occasionally, if I'm tired, or I have toothache, which I do now, possums. What a brave woman I am. If I'm a little bit nervous or not under par, I lose my power, Michael. My magnetic force ebbs, and I get sometimes women saying, not tonight, please, Edna. And I respect that. I respect it. I don't give them flowers at the end of it.
You throw flowers at them. You crack them on the head with a gladiola.
I do. A lot of people wonder about that, the flowers
Yes,
at the end. Do you know how that started?
No, how did it start?
I never knew, and of course you will have observed this, seeing other shows, how it ends, how to end a lovely show. I never knew quite how to finish, how to send the audience home. And I always had gladioli on the piano, a big vase of them, because I love them. And they symbolize all the good things of life to me. Optimism, even vulgarity, which has been given a very bad name by some people. So, and it's an Australian virtue. In Australia, vulgarity is considered perhaps the nicest thing you can possibly have.
Yeah. In fact, a friend of yours, a guy named Les Patterson, I believe, Minister of Culture, who's really rather quite vulgar.
He wants to come on this show.
Yes, we're a little afraid of that.
That would be great. Yeah.
He is very vulgar, but not in my sense. I mean vulgarity in the sense of grit, optimism, a thrusting force. Well, I had this vase, and on a matinee, all the ladies in the front row looked at the flowers and not at me. And at the end of the performance, I was so annoyed with them. I picked these flowers out of their vase, dripping with water, and I flung them into the audience. Well, these women were thrilled. They passed the flowers along. And when I sang my final song, they waved them in time to the music. And Susan, I thought, that's the ending. That's how to end. And ever since, it's been a tradition. Except now I spend thousands of dollars. I give away so many of these priceless flowers. Some women collect them afterwards. I see them scrabbling around under the seats and open flower stalls.
I still have my gladiola from 4 years ago in my foyer. Yeah.
What a lovely, in your foyer. How
Yes.
lovely.
Why don't you put them as part of your merchandising wagon in the lobby, those gladioli?
Michael Riedel is harping on about this merchandising. I think people like to buy these things. I mean, these DVDs have been brought out. I had nothing to do
That's
with
right.
it.
Absolutely.
Now, on another front, Edna, were you disappointed that your friend Teresa Heinz Carey didn't become the First Lady?
Well, a little. I was a little, because I've been grooming that woman. I was sure she was going to the White
One
House.
sees the similarity. One sees your influence.
Well, there is a bit of influence to start with. We're both amazingly wealthy. And, you know, we both got, well, stiff husbands. Really, my husband is dead. But I was looking forward to redecorating that White House, Susan. Bringing it Laura, her taste.
How would you describe her taste, Laura Bush's taste?
It doesn't exist. I'm afraid.
I've noticed, though, in your current act, Back with a Vengeance, you have always been a favorite of a lot of conservative critics, and I know Rupert Murdoch, a very close friend of yours. People always liked you because you were slightly conservative, seemed politically incorrect, but there are a lot of subtle, but they're there, bush-bashing jokes. Have you moved to the left on the political spectrum?
I am. I'm almost a communist. And an anarchist. You see? The right has held me to their bosom, not knowing that I am a serpent. An asp. No, I'm really apolitical. And the reason for that, Michael, and here's a confession which you managed to elicit. I know nothing about politics. I'm a political ignoramus. But I know what I like. And I think I know what would be good for America. And I've observed a strange dichotomy in American culture. Watching television, if you could bear to watch it. This is probably the only thing worth watching on television. And I've noticed there's a contrast. There's either lewd,
Very lewd.
very lewd, gratuitously
Yes.
lewd material, or sentimental things so sickly. You feel instant diabetes of the spirit. And so it worries me that this difference, and violence, lewdness, violence, vulgarity.
Well, you're the one who throws flowers at people at the end of your act.
Well, there's nothing lewd about that.
Violent.
No, but generous too.
But how?
When I give gifts, I throw them forcibly at people.
How rich are you?
Well, I'd have to go to Switzerland to tell you how wealthy I was. I give it all away. I live humbly. I'm just staying in a rented apartment in New York.
Oh.
I have no bodyguards. I walk in the park. People who know me greet me. I sometimes have to scribble on T-shirts. But I have a happy life.
Well, you've made a killing, though, in the last 4 years, haven't you?
Lucky. The financial side of it is an obsession of yours, Michael. I've observed it in your writings. A killing is very, well, it's relative, isn't it, darling?
Well, but you sort of...
I've had my lean times. I know poverty. Or something close to it.
What would that be?
Moderate wealth I've experienced, and that's agony. I'd rather be a total pauper.
Well, you started out, though, in Australia. You are a middle-class housewife, really.
Well, not even middle class, lower middle class housewife in Australia. I lived in my early years in the Australian equivalent of New Jersey. And what could be more tragic than that? I was there, and I had 3 young children, an invalid husband. But I broke out of this. I never thought I could. And I made the most important decision of my life, Susan. I put my family last. And I've never looked back after that. Never looked back.
Well, you talk about your family in the show, and I wonder, do you have any regrets? I mean, do you consider yourself to have been a good mother, or do you feel you abandoned those children?
I have some regrets, I do. I look at the children of other people and I see normalcy, achievement. I look at my own, I see dysfunction. And I've wrestled with this. You're probing very deep. You accuse me of cruelty, Michael Riedel. Your rapiers are touching my innermost nerves.
You since your last Broadway gig went to Hollywood. You appeared on Ally McBeal. You appeared on The Tonight Show.
Since I saw you,
Yes.
all that happened.
All that happened. Now,
I thank you for that.
yes,
I
but
think we could...
have all the people who interviewed you been simpatico with you, Dame Edna?
Susan, they're not. They're not on my wavelength. Even Michael, who teases me, probes me, rebukes me even, is on my wavelength because he knows what I'm about, what I'm into. He's has a feeling for what I do.
You remind me of my mother.
But, well, that's a compliment because she's a lovely woman. I'm meeting her for lunch.
You're eating her for lunch, I'm sure. Well, yes, it's interesting.
But, you know, they don't always ask. Do you know what they want to know? What did you advise the Queen? What was Princess Diana really like?
Oh.
That sort of thing. But we're talking about real things in a way. New York, for me, though, is sitting here with you drinking this not-so-bad coffee. I'm a bit croaky. I've just come off the stage tonight. And normally I'd go and have my beauty sleep.
But you came here.
But of course I came to this gloomy little place to meet you.
How many hours of beauty sleep do you need?
I manage with 7. As you get older, Michael, you'll find you need less. Susan doesn't get enough. She wakes at 2. You shouldn't call me at that hour, though, Susan. I get this call. I know who it is. It's Susan. I can't nod off. I said, try the Da Vinci Code. A guaranteed soporific. Talking about the Da Vinci Code, I was down the other day, went down to Arkansas for the opening of the Clinton
Yes,
Library.
with Barbara Streisand.
She was there, yes. I mean,
A little wet, wasn't it?
very wet. So I was in the minibus with the presidents. And after the opening, it was very spectacular, and he's revealed. He said, Edna, Bill said to me, he said, I've exposed everything, I've revealed everything. And I said, have you really? Have you really? Were you telling the truth when you said you didn't have sex with that woman? And he said, well, I was, Edna, but he said, I thought they were referring to Madeleine Albright. Well, I hadn't heard that one, but I noticed little Mr. Bush was blinking a lot more than usual. And he can't stop blinking when he's feeling agitated. And I realized, because I'm very intuitive, that he was jealous of that library. He was jealous that Mr. Clinton, President Clinton, had established a library and he hadn't. Isn't it funny? So I just said, are you all right, Bill, and George? And he said, oh, Edna, he said, how many books do you need for a library? Wasn't that lovely? And I said, oh, we need quite a few, Mr. President. And he said, oh, well, he said, would Laura's Da Vinci Code be enough? I said, I don't think so. I got out of it, Michael and Susan, but it was a tense moment, really. It was...
Your show now at the Music Box.
At the Music Box, which was Irving Berlin's theatre, viewers.
Yes.
His spirit is there.
You know, you can't serve any alcohol in that theater because Irving Berlin
Irving.
prohibited alcohol.
Well, I know, but I really think alcohol is an overrated... I'm the stimulant.
Well, we are delighted that you're back in New York, and we're very pleased that you agreed to come on our show.
I'm honoured that I was asked. I said instantly. They said, do you want to leave it a while? I said, no. I'll face them immediately. I'd like to come on again during my run.
Oh, we love it.
You have an open invitation.
I'm very happy to see you, my darling. And you too, Michael. And especially you, Possums, for listening to a croaky old megastar, or gigastar as I now am, who's just stepped off the stage of the Music Box Theatre to talk to you. And I want to thank you all for having me at your place.
Thank you, Dame Edna.
Where's little Andrew, Lord?
He's hanging out on the green.
My darling! How are you? It was so long. I know. I should have been. You'd have been a Christine for me, wouldn't you?
I could be Christian, or I could play the woman with the stick. You know, the
Oh,
ballet.
Manageri. Yes.
As good as that.
Because you were such a wonderful dancer.
What I would bring to that role.
Are you going to come on the premiere? I think you should. I think so.
We'll have to cancel one of my performances.
We can't do
When
that.
is
then.
it?
Well, it's December the 13th.
December the 13th. Don't miss it, viewers. Where is he?
Oh my God! Oh, I'm so thrilled to meet you. I've been a fan of yours for so long.
you, Joe.
I think you're the most beautiful woman in the world.
You know,
She's got a question for us.
just
Oh, what's the question?
were you too shy to cast me?
As Christine?
No.
Yes, as
Madam.
Madame Giry.
Yes.
You're too young. You're too sexy.
Well,
You know, I don't know if you can do ballet. Have you seen Dame Edna do ballet?
She's one of the finest
Could I-
dancers out of Melbourne.